Well, to my subscribers, my patrons, and the trolls, my guy has done it again. Price target for Bitcoin Cash was 138 to 141 or so. And as he always says to me, and I've repeated it, Joe, a lot of times the market pumps, we typically get it wrong. It typically goes a little higher. Bitcoin Cash, 146, up nearly 20%. Bitcoin's only 8%. A lot of these other coins aren't there. Now EOS is 23 as far as top coins go. But as you can see, there's no other coin in this top list of even 15, top 15 coins. That's where Bitcoin Cash is, again, aside from EOS. And then he gave us another coin that's on this top 15 list just a couple of days ago. Or was it 3 days ago? I think it was 3 days ago. And that coin is doing very well right now. Those in my Patreon will see it staring you in the face. So, you know, I'm not coming out here, honestly, to like toot my own horn or my guy's horn, because we're still, hey, where's this big dump? Am I going to get my Litecoin back cheap, you know? Supposedly that's coming up next. I'm going to try to have a little conversation with him today or tomorrow, as soon as I can, basically, to ask, you know, how confident you think this, is there going to be a dump? Is it not on the books now? In other words, I just, you know, lost some of my Litecoin at those prices, or all of my Litecoin at those prices, although I did put it into these trades. And these trades are right now doing very well, to be honest with you. So, I'll find that out. But here's the thing. Trolls are trolls. Trolls are trolls. They're not going to come out, oh, I was wrong, oh, sorry, Joe. Nope. The whole time. And here's the thing. This now, I think, makes my guy's stuff, like, we're shooting for like 10 things he's told me now that have been spot on, except for the dump. And when I say the dump, that's the whole Litecoin thing we're talking about. That hasn't happened yet, but he says it's coming. It's coming. So let's just say it doesn't happen. Got it wrong. He just nailed again 2 other ones. Again. And has told me where some of these things are going. And by the way, one of those coins was Bitcoin Cash, as I've said. And he's got some interesting things to say about some specific coins, where they're going to be at the end of the year. He explained to me why, who's behind it, what companies are going to be using them. Quite a lot of detail, although some of the things I don't repeat because I can't really repeat. But some things that's, you know, worthy of telling that I need to tell, I tell it. Again, it's not necessarily hidden information. It's just that he brings it to me first before anyone knows to look at it, you know, and then you might be able to poke around yourself and say, oh yeah, that is true. Oh, I didn't know that either. Yeah. Oh, okay, I seen that. You know, oh, that company did do this thing with this, you know, coin or whatever, or they're going to, you know, that kind of stuff. So the thing is, all these trolls. So what if he gets, ultimately, if he gets this one thing wrong? I got out of my Litecoin at 25 and 26 bucks. It's now $48.86. But again, I did get into, he's given us 2 Bitcoin Cash trades. And they've both now been profitable. That little so-called loss in Litecoin doesn't exist anymore, if you look at these other ones. So if you take a big chance like this, sometimes you can get a big reward. Like if this dump happens, that'll be an epic, as far as I'm concerned, massively epic, because not only was I able to get into some of the trades he gave in the meantime that have all panned out, not that there were many, they've panned out. So if the dump pans out, and now I've got a bigger war chest to dump into, whether it's Litecoin and these other coins he was telling me about, and like spread it across them rather than just get back in Litecoin only. That's even, again, that was the whole point in the beginning. Let me get more Litecoin back than I had. But if I don't, we're going to be in a good position one way or the other. I can assure you that much. Seeing his coins right now, he told me about doing very, very well. And just a hair behind the time frame he thought this pump would happen. And I mean just a sliver of a hair behind. So this happened just a little teensy weensy bit later than he said, roughly this time frame. And he basically said mid to late next week, which is this week. Well, this past week. Sunday, this pump started. Here's Monday, and it's roaring along. So he missed it by a couple days, technically, you know, really. And that's the thing, I think that some of these trolls, these people who are so emotional, they can't help themselves. I have a guy that's in my Patreon, Prince Sign. Is that how you say your name? Prince Sign? Prince Sign? I tell him about the Bitcoin Cash, the whole group about Bitcoin Cash. When's he think this? Oh, probably this time. Okay. Market dumps a little bit. I actually get stopped out. I was in at 127. I get stopped out at 122. And I write, I'm going to analyze the market, see if there's a better entry point, or decide, do I just take this loss and just deal with it? Maybe the market's going to keep going down. You know, I'll have to decide over the next day or so. It stayed flat around there, 120, 122, 123, back down to 120, 119, actually hit 117, I think, at one point, or maybe 116. Back to 120, and I said, you know, and I'm like, everything in my body's telling me to get back in this. So I write in my Patreon, hey guys, I went ahead and got back in at 120. So I'm stopped out at 122. I get it cheaper, $2 cheaper. But of course, I was in at 127 originally, right? So there's a few percent loss. But I'm in a little cheaper. Now it runs up to 140, whatever it was, 146 at the moment. But my sell order is already triggered, by the way. So I'm fine. You know what I mean? I'm in profit. Not as much as I would have been had I not been stopped out and did that whole thing. But again, I got back in a little bit cheaper anyways. So it all panned out. It worked fine. It's not the first time that I've been stopped out of a trade over the last 2 years or so and decided I'll watch. I'm going to go ahead and get back in. It's scary to say to yourself, I'm going to get back in after experiencing a loss, because your mind tells you, what if it goes down even more now and I'm in again? Oh, that's painful. Then at that point, do you say, do I do it a third time? Right, you're just looking at your portfolio or this trading bag you have, go, oh, that hurts. Ooh, that hurts a second time. But if you believe in the information that you, in this case, my guy, or you believe in the trade for whatever reason, you have to say, okay, I think this is going to pan out, or else I wouldn't have gotten into it to begin with. Sometimes you could be wrong though, right? Well, I got stopped out. Maybe I was wrong. No, it's still hovering around that price. Get back in. Okay. So I got back in, and now I made a decent profit on this. Quite decent, mind you. And I told everybody, I said, look, this morning, and I updated an older post where I said this, one of the Bitcoin Cash posts, like from a few days ago. And I said, basically, matter of fact, I'll read it to you. Just that way I'm not, you know, mincing words or, oh, you didn't quite say that. Not that it matters. I'm just trying to explain one of the tools you can use is called a trailing stop loss. So once you start to get nicely into the profit, you just start putting stop losses in and ride the wave up. I think it was the one where I said I got stopped out. Stops triggered. Which was posted on February 10th, by the way. So then I updated it today, this morning. I said, the two coins he told us about the other day are doing real nice, such and such, and Bitcoin Cash, although Bitcoin Cash is closing in on 134. That was this morning. Which is $4 from his target, which his target range was 138 to 141. It's now blown past that. A very safe thing to do would be to put trailing stop losses in. Say $2 to $3 less than the current price. Each time the price goes up another $2, raise your stops along with it. This call was made when Bitcoin Cash was about 127, and the other call was such and such coin, blah, 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 whatever. If I recall, both of these coins were right. Well, I can't say that. The trailing stop loss works good because it keeps locking in profit the higher it goes, but there is a risk that the daily fluctuations could trigger your stop loss, but at least when it does, you're in the profit. So I post this, and then I had to run out and get a welding job done on this thing for my vehicle that helps you tow a motorcycle behind it. Like you just put it in a you put it in the hitch receiver, and then you ride your bike, your motorcycle. It can handle up to 400 pounds. I've got a on-road, off-road bike. It's a Kawasaki KLX 250. 300 pounds, boom. So anyways, I needed to be raised a little bit. Like, I had a welding job. So I told myself, I'm going to go run over there and do that real fast. And then I'm going to come back, and then I'm going to log in, and then I'm going to start setting my trailing stops. Because I didn't want to miss getting over there on time. So I do this $134 Bitcoin Cash earlier. By the time I get home, which is right now, a little while ago, to do this video, looking at my portfolio, you know, my little blockfolio, not portfolio, with all the coins that I track, and lo and behold, Bitcoin Cash is destroying it right now. $146. I had sell orders in within that range of 138 to 141, which was his target. But I want to do the trailing stop loss here. I'll do it when I get home. Wrong, JSnip. Wrong. I'm going to now look in my email because I got a sneaky suspicion I'm going to have some emails that say your order's filled. I can't remember. Were my orders still sitting there? I thought so. Hang on one second. I got to go look. Stand by. All right. Yeah, I thought maybe it was Gemini that notifies you when stuff happens, because I didn't get a notification on Bitcoin Cash. It's up 20% right now. So it's the Bitcoin base price is 144. Other exchanges, it might be $1 or $2 more. So yeah, anyways, I've got cash sitting in a wallet, you know, online wallet, so to speak, through the exchange. And I'm waiting to see, is my guy, hey, are you, is this dump coming or not? Like, on a scale from 1 to 10, what do you think? I'm going to put it to him like that, just see what he says. And then I have a decision along with a lot of other people. Do we sit here and say, I'm going for it, which I already am technically, I got cash sitting on the side now. Or no, Joe, get back in, this dump is not looking like it's going to happen, and here's why. Okay. And then I have to tell my patrons, guys, I know we were waiting on this big Litecoin dump, which is the whole market dumping anyways, but this is what he said. It's not going to happen like they thought, blah, 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 whatever. Chalk that off as one single loss over the last few months. He's been giving me information that has just totally panned out. Like I said, we will make this up throughout the rest of this year. The guy has just had incredible information. He's got his ear to the ground on what the hell's happening behind the scenes. I'm convinced. He's just like in the know of just the people he knows or whatever. I don't even know, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know for sure, but I'm like, how the hell did he get that information? How do you know that? How do you know? And, you know, some people are like, well, he was probably an insider. You know, he's an insider. Well, if he was an insider, the dump would have happened when it was supposed to happen back in January. If he was an insider, the Bitcoin Cash move would have happened on the exact day he said this, you know, like, you know, which was Thursday or Friday, you know, technically speaking. Because he had said, you know, we were thinking this might be around Thursday or Friday that happens, but he goes mid to late next week is, you know, how we're putting this out there. I said, okay. So, anyways, it's good to see the markets rallying. I know it gives you a nice breath of fresh air and that kind of thing. But I had to come out here because I'm waiting on them to finish this welding job. And I was able to ride the motorcycle back home. So I took the motorcycle there with me, offloaded it, because I had to show them, here's the height. I needed to go up this high and in, you know, like just modify this receiver hitch a bit, you know, welding it, cutting and welding. And since the bike's here, let me just, you know, he goes, oh, give me an hour and a half. I'll have it done. All right. So I said, I'll just go home, hang out. The bike needs an oil change. After 600 miles, you supposed to do the first oil change. I bought it, you know, used with 200 miles on it a while back. It's a cheap bike. It's a real cheap bike, but it's cool for a little bit of off-road, on-road kind of a thing. And I needed it for some of these expeditions that old Snippy does. And anyways, it needs an oil change, so I want the thing to cool off a bit before I go out there and do the oil change on it. I've got all the stuff in my garage just waiting for it to cool off a bit. Figured, well, what the hell, I'll go do another video. Market's pumping really nicely, and I'm hoping I'll hear from my guy to give us some some guidance on what he thinks if is yay or nay or a big dump coming first. We'll find out. Take care.